Greetings and salutations everybody, my name is MiAh the King and welcome to my video. Now I'm not taking a look at a game that just came out, I'm sorry to say, but in fact I am looking at a game that came out on April 30th of last year. In other words, this game has been out for over a year. Why am I doing a video on it? Because it's in early access, which means that a game is constantly changing, getting better, getting worse, or adding new stuff or taking away old stuff. Now, I took a look at this game because one of my viewers suggested it, so keep that in mind if you guys ever have a game that you want me to look at but can't afford to spend the money yourselves. I will bite the bullet and do it for you, if you trust my opinion that is, which I hope you do, because I try to be as honest as I can after 2 decades of experience playing video games, but let's not get into that. This game is developed by 11th Hour Games and also published by them, so most likely an indie development team, which I'm okay with. Now, this video is what I call a first impressions review, and what that means is I play the game between 1 and 2 hours to see if it can wow me in those first couple of hours and convince me that the game is worth the time and investment. Why do I do it like this? 1, to keep the videos out as soon as possible, and 2, because I'm broke as hell and don't have any money to throw around left and right. In my own personal opinion, as a dedicated gamer for about 21 years, I feel like if a game cannot wow me or immerse me or have me curious enough to keep coming back in the first 2 hours, I mean especially now with the Steam refund policy, then it's not worth keeping. Why spend $40 on a game that only gets good on hour 20? No thanks. Anyway, let's take a look at this game and see what's up with it and if it's worth your time and investment, shall we? And as always, if you enjoy this video, or if you feel like it was at least informative, I would greatly appreciate a subscription, pressing that like button, or a comment. Thank you very much, and now on to the video. So, I don't really know much about the story here. I mean, it's not meant to have much of a story, which means there isn't much that I can tell you about it. Even on the Steam store page, it doesn't really go into its story at all. It's more just telling you what you can do in this game and how much fun it's going to be. I mean, great, I guess. Thanks for that. How about tell me a little more about it than how much fun I'm going to have? Because I don't trust it when people tell me I'm going to have fun. But, you know what? Fine. If Steam won't do it, then I'm going to do it. Some kind of black void thingies are corrupting everything, and you are the chosen one to gather these legendary shards and eventually beat the darkness. It looks like slime, or ooze, or sludge, or what was it the dinosaurs used to get trapped in back in prehistoric ages? I don't know. After playing over an hour, that's about all I got from the story, though, is this black slime void stuff is corrupting and killing everything. But, you know, this type of game, it's not really about the story so much. It's more about the gameplay, the overall experience, you know, the journey itself. So let's take at those aspects and see if it holds up. So first off, we're going to start with the positive things that I found about this game and, you know, things that I liked or, you know, I felt needed bringing attention to. Number 1, the graphics are actually really nice. I'd even go so far as to say the graphics are beautiful. There is so much detail here, and every little nuance can be appreciated. The lighting is great, and watching a whole cavern full of fire just really hones in on the amazing lighting effects that are going on here. The spells look and feel and sound great. The combat looks and feels great. Overall, the art and the design here, it's all just very well done. I have zero complaints about that whatsoever. Number 2 on the positives. The sounds themselves aren't half bad. The music could use a little work as it drifts in and out, and sometimes I don't even notice or hear it at all. And when I do, I'm unimpressed. It's not exciting, it's not dramatic, it doesn't change with the mood, it doesn't suck you in at all. But the monster sounds, the spell sounds, the combat sounds, and the very brief voice acting, all of that sounds really well done, and I think they had a lot of time and attention put on them, and if they could put some more time and attention on the music itself, that could be good as well. I mean, come on. Some of the best things about some games is that music and how it... I mean, without the music, you can't fully immerse yourself. You can't get drawn into a game. I mean, could you imagine playing The Witcher 3 without its iconic music? No, you couldn't, because that'd be ludicrous. Now, number 3 of the positives. The gameplay itself is very smooth and easy to understand and, you know, just kind of jump right into without worrying about getting flustered, overwhelmed, or overall confused. I mean, it's pretty simple. Click to move, hit these 4 particular keys to use abilities, rinse and repeat. Which does mean that the game can feel a little repetitive sometimes, but overall it was, you know, a fairly pleasant experience. And number 4 of the positives, and the last of the positives, I like the idea of this game. It's kind of unique to me. Not the style, or not what's being done here, because that's been done to death. No, what I mean here is like the lore, the plot, the twists, the actual writing. It's very creative, very original, but, you know, it is still lacking. But I mean, it did have me invested enough to overall, you know, want to dive a little bit deeper and maybe find out a little bit more about the world, just a little bit. So that's about all I got of the positives for this game, so now I'm going to move on to the negatives or the minor gripes and complaints that I had while I was playing it. If you're not sure about this game, maybe pay attention to these ones because you might have experienced them, you might not have, whatever, to each their own. So the first thing I got for the negatives here is the stability of the game. While most of the time it was smooth as butter and working great, I did have the game freeze up on me more than a few times, and I had frequent frame rate drops which caused some serious issues during combat or when I was trying to loot. I mean, I understand that the game is in early access, but after being out for over a year, I would have thought that things like this would have been fixed by now. In my personal opinion, the first thing you should make sure your game is, got set in stone when you release a game, whether it's early access or not, is those bugs. They need to be fixed pronto. They need to be fixed ASAP. You shouldn't be having people crashing, screen tearing, frame rate dropping, anything like that. That's the first thing you should fix. The next thing you should fix or finish would be the main storyline. And then after that, you can work on everything else. That's my personal opinion, because if you do those two things, then if your game's story is good and it's finished, people are going to continue playing it, supporting it, talking about how great it is. And if it doesn't crash, freeze, or give people headaches along the way, even better. You see what I'm saying? You can add in the extra stuff later, but if you're putting a game on early access and you want it to be able to, get popular and make money and stuff, you want to have the story complete and you want to make sure it's stable. On to the second thing in the negatives. The overall experience is just kind of boring. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've played other games like this. I mean, I played Diablo, all three of them, and all their expansions, and I love Diablo. But where Diablo put in effort into certain areas, this game either hasn't or won't. For instance, in Diablo, whenever you speak to someone about something more than gossip or shopping, say a big quest or your main quest line, they have fully voiced dialogue. In this game, that does not exist anywhere, at least not that I could find. In Diablo, it had a legitimate story, one main storyline that was obvious that you had to follow, and the others were obviously side quests. After playing this game for an hour, I still don't know what the main story is. I think it's that thing about the shards defeating the void that I mentioned earlier, but I'm not really sure if that's the main story or just something for this particular map area. I just find myself not really caring and not really wanting to go back. I mean, at least in Diablo, the main quest had voice acting, so if they could do that in this game to the main quest have voice acting, people can be like, oh, I see, okay, he's talking, so this must be the main quest. At least give us some direction or something. Put a little bit more time and investment into that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? It's not like they don't have a voice actor. They do. I heard it when I first started up the game, so they do have a voice actor, at least one. So, I don't know, just maybe have them do some more stuff. I don't know. On to the third negative I have. There is an annoying little thing here that it's not really that big of a deal, but I wanted to personally mention it because it really bugs me. The game does things on its own for you. Now, while in some areas that's nice, in others it's really freaking annoying. For instance, it has this auto-recognize feature, so whenever your character walks next to a usable object or a talkable person, the game does it for you automatically. It recognizes you as one of a player, like the main character. Now, in some instances, this could be pretty nice, but when you walk past your empty storage chest in town and it auto-opens for you, which slows you down and annoys you, only to then walk past a glowy chest in the dungeon, you don't even have the satisfaction of opening it, it opens it automatically for you, so that kind of satisfaction is gone. And when you're trying to walk through the town to get to the quest, or just to sell or do anything, you auto-engage in conversation with literally every random person in your way. It is so annoying. If you walk within 1 feet of somebody, you automatically engage in conversation with them, and that is so dumb. Why even give me the option to click on people if it's just going to do all that stuff automatically? I don't know. This might be able to be turned off in the options, but I didn't see it anywhere, and it was just overall annoying, and it made every trip to town, I was dreading it because of this silly little option in the gameplay mechanics. But then on the other hand, and those are the big main problems I have with it, and the only minor good thing I have with this thing is when you're out fighting and stuff, you automatically pick up any gold or potions you find, so you don't have to worry about clicking on them, but then you still have to manually click on the other loot. It's kind of like contradicting itself. In some areas it'll pick things up for you, in other areas it won't, and I can kind of understand why it's doing it that way, but it doesn't mean that I like it. And number 4, and the final negative I have to say about this, is that this game is clearly not meant to be played solo. There is nothing in this game worth coming back for if you're playing it alone. I feel like that was a big misstep for the developers. I mean, your game needs to be good at solo play and multiplayer if you want to sell it well, and I just feel like there's zero motivation for me coming back and playing it by myself. I mean, I just don't care. And that's not my fault. That's the game's fault for not making me care. There was not enough of really anything in this game to make me want to keep coming back and playing. The loot that I found all looked the exact same. The skills didn't really feel like they were really all that different or doing all that much. I don't know, maybe if I got to level 30 my spells would be different or something. But there's just a lot of things that I just don't care. I mean, I just don't care. If I wanted to play a game like this where I have to care, I'd play one of those solo, not that one, the top-down isometric RPGs. You know what I'm talking about? Like Pillars of Eternity or Baldur's Gate. Because at least then, my guy, when I put on new armor and stuff, he looks different. When I give him a new weapon, it looks different. New spells actually look and feel different. But this is a game where if you're playing with some friends, sure, it'll be alright, but not if you're playing it alone. In my personal opinion, I feel like if you play this game alone, you're going to be bored, you're going to be unmotivated to continue onward, and you're just going to lose interest very quickly. But that's all I got for the negatives. So let me try to sum up everything I said in hopefully a more coherent thought process to give you guys my final thoughts. I think if you're looking to play with friends or family, this game is going to be a lot of fun. I mean, I still remember playing Diablo 2 with my mom and my 2 brothers. Then after I got married, I played Diablo 3 with my mom, my wife, and my brother. We had a lot of fun. To be honest, story isn't all that important in a game like this. It's more about the journey and the action and the loot. If you have a couple of buddies you want to invest some time in a game together with, then, you know, this is a pretty damn good option. The combat is fun and interactive, the maps are well designed, the graphics are very nice, and the spells and combat skills, I mean, overall, they're pretty fun to mess around with as long as you each play with a different class. But if you're looking to play this game and you have no one to play with, like me, then you might want to pass on this one. It's clearly not meant to be played alone, and to me, it's fairly obvious right from the get-go. The only way to improve your base stats like strength, endurance, agility, is via gear and their attributes, which is really dumb in my opinion. How are you going to have a game like this and you can't boost your own stats the way you want? And the way you level up your spells and choose new ones and replace old ones only to never get back the strength of the old ones is a bit ridiculous as well. So, in other words, let's say you spend a couple of hours boosting up a lightning spell and you're focusing on lightning attacks. Later on, you replace it with a fireball spell and you start focusing on fire attacks. Then you realize you don't like the fireball spell and you want to go back to the lightning spell. Only now, the lightning spell is brought all the way back to level 0, meaning you have to level it up all over again, even though you're level 30 and you already leveled it up once before. The game isn't optimized for fun in single player, and it isn't optimized for immersion in single player. Final warning, if you are only going to play alone, I would pass on this one. However, if you have friends, then I think you should pick it up and start arguing over the gear, chests, gold, loot, and others, like me and mine have done in the past. I don't have to give this game any kind of rating, because this wasn't a deep dive review. But if you twisted my arm and forced me to give you a rating, based on my 1 hour of playtime, I'm going to give this game a 5 out of 10. It's average in my opinion. It doesn't really do anything different, it doesn't break the mold, it doesn't offer anything innovative or new. It's just another top-down ARPG that'll get lost in the pile of other top-down ARPGs. I'm still desperate and still looking to find one on the same level of Diablo with the same time, dedication, creativity, and investment that it had to really deliver me an amazing experience, because I actually do enjoy games like this. And if I can play a game for a couple hours by myself and then be like, wow, this is kind of fun, I got to get my friends and family to play this with me. I don't really have friends, but I do have family, so I could get my family to play this with me. That's something that the game has to do itself. I can't just be like, oh, well, this game could be good for friends, so I'm going to play it with everybody. No, if it's not good enough on its own, I'm not going to get my family to buy it and play it all together just to make it fun. I shouldn't have to do that. To me, this game isn't very different from Path of Exile, and I couldn't really get into that one either. But I bet you I could get back into Diablo 1, 2, or 3 by myself, and that's the difference here. Is playing, you know, Path of Exile and playing the last Epoch, I can't play those by myself. I have no interest of going back to them. I don't. But if someone came up to me and said, hey, look, I've got a free version of Diablo 3 with the expansion pack installed, do you want to buy it? You can only play by yourself. I'd do it! That's the difference, is because Diablo actually did it well, and these games, they're missing something here. They're just missing what Diablo had. I can't see myself going back to it, ever. I was just bored most of the time I was playing it, looking for stuff that might be fun or interesting or unique. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad game. Don't call me out in the comments because I'm not saying it's a bad game. Because logically, it's not. It has the fundamentals right, and it is offering decent quality for what it is. But it's so painfully obviously meant to be played with friends that the single-player experience suffers greatly. Maybe if I could play it with friends or family, I'd have a different opinion, but as of this moment, while playing it alone, I was bored, and all I wanted to do was go back to other games like Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. I'm much more invested in that game than this one. But hey, if this type of genre is your jam and you just can't get enough of it, then more power to you. I hope you enjoy it. It'll scratch that itch for you. It'll take care of you. It'll be exactly what you want it to be. But me, I'm just not interested in playing this game single player. Take that for what you will. I hope you guys enjoyed my video, or at the very least found it informative. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any other games out there you'd like me to take a look at, then please let me know in the comments down below. You can also follow my Twitter, and you'll be notified of new stuff happening on my channel, like if I ever decide to start streaming, or you could be the first one there when I post a new video. Alright, everybody? Alright. I can't wait to see you all again on my next adventure, and until then, I bid you farewell.